Assalamu alaikum. كيف الحال? Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I'm very glad that Paul knows the background of Ernst & Young very well. Thank you very much. And I think by his way of introduction, he introduced Ernst & Young very well. Today, we're going to talk about several things. I'm not going to discuss on what my friend Laith Al-Harthi said. He's a true example of a proper entrepreneur, I say, not an SME. So please give a round of applause to Laith Al-Harthi. SMEs are viewed as the engine of growth and a catalyst for economic transformation, as reflected in Oman's vision, documents, and development plans, and facilitated through the General Budget 2016. Oman 9th year plan focuses on a lot of things, but I'll summarize it into the following. Promoting economic diversification and growth of private players in the SME sector. Privatization is anticipated to assist in acquiring, financing, managing SME projects while expanding the job opportunities. The plan has identified key non-oil sectors which will positively contribute to the GDP growth by 2020, inshallah. Mainly manufacturing, transportation, logistics, tourism, fisheries, real estate, construction, and, of course, retail. It will also provide greater job opportunities to meet the objective of Omanization and reduce unemployment of the nationals. Oman's Vision 2020 has the long-term goal of improved access to funding for SMEs. It also encourages youngsters and startups to participate in the SME sector by providing fund support and linkage with existing businesses, experts, and consultants. As what I go back to Laith presentation is I just came to know today from the officials that Oman has introduced an action plan for several sectors, and I believe construction is one of them, and I'm sure in the future your Wikipedia will be part of that, enhancing that vision. Promoting private and public cooperations in the sector to promote knowledge, absolutely as what you said, to promote knowledge, exchange, identification of opportunities in supply chain, and creating background and forward linkage, among others. We have to understand that SMEs are not only playing as a front office, they can also be part of the back door or front door of any business. We have to think wider. Improving assistance to SME through joint efforts of the government and the Central Bank of Oman in terms of capacity building and prospective entrepreneurs, identifying key areas of SME finance, facilitating public-private partnerships, which is another major government initiative to have this PPP model work. Combating economic weaknesses, externally oriented sectors such as finance and insurance, retail, manufacturing, by reducing the cost of doing business in Oman in these sectors for SME, thereby contributing to productivity, growth, and innovation. The government has set out a number of initiatives to enhance Sultanate Oman SME sector, the implementation and success of which will be defined by the efficient collaboration between various public agencies. Will not go in detail, I just summarized at a glance of what are the key initiatives that I think it's known to everyone. With 5% commercial bank lending direct to SMEs, smaller firms will be enabled to expand and meet the requirement of bidding on larger jobs. The initiative of expected to create a funding pipeline more than $2.6 billion a year for SMEs, a leap from the current, which is around 1 billion. The pilot program presented through local banks offer loans at marginally lower rates compared to the current rates available to SMEs. The objective is to grant Omanis great access and loan and financial support. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry is developing an over-the-counter exchange. It's not yet there, but they're doing this now. A special platform for SMEs to raise money and overcome their financial concerns. Al-Rafad, which is presented today also, Rafad Fund offers a wide scale of financial support to SMEs on an ongoing basis, wherein the financial health and sustainability of the SMEs will be monitored consistently after initial funding for 3 years. RIADA, the Public Authority for Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises Development, the Sultan's arm of SME development, is a key element of the government's long-term diversification agenda. It aims to encourage technology transfer between established firms and newly startups, ensuring that the entrepreneur and SMEs have access to finance, advising SMEs on growth strategies and sustainability. RIADA is set to encourage young entrepreneurs and provide technical financial training, marketing, and also management support. These training workshops of RIADA, in agreement with Petroleum Development of Oman, focuses on providing technical consultation and financial advice for successful operation of SMEs. Specialities and experts in the field will be provided SME owners and entrepreneurs with the required guidance to manage their businesses. The SME Development Fund has also set up and enabled SMEs to contribute to the economic development and long-term vision of the Sultanate. It offers technical and managerial training, subsidized funding, and support with flexible operations and accounting services at a very nominal cost. These are also combined by a ongoing monitoring to ensure efficiency of SME business operations. The government is an effort of best protect. The main objective of the government is to best protect the interest of SMEs, and to achieve the larger vision is for the Omanization to work on these on the sector of SMEs. Secured government contracts of SMEs, I think it's very well known. Before 3 years, they have mentioned that 10% will go to SMEs for all government contracts. Despite of accounting for majority of the business in Oman, their low contribution to the economy and overall GDP growth remains low when we compare it with the global peers. SME at a glance. 90% of the businesses are SMEs. This is a well-known fact, and even you can get it in the records of Ministry of Commerce and Industry. But unfortunately, only 70,000 are real SMEs. Among the active SMEs, those being run and operated by Omanis are even less. Most of these small-scale businesses are rated by the Public Authority for Social Insurance as being macro-entrepreneurs, with 78% of companies in Oman employing 5 or even fewer Omanis. Between them, accounting just 10% of these companies are only having Omanization. 40% of the workforce is employed in SME firms within less than 5% consisting of Omanis. Workforce dominating by expatriates. This is true. There are also cases whereby nationals are registered as a business owner, exit, whereas in reality these nationals are simply agents of expatriate owners. This loophole is in the current system amounts to a rent-seeking behavior, and this will lead by the lot of initiatives and incentives given by the government to the Omanis are being used by the expatriates. So by seeing this, mainly GDP contribution from SME in Oman is nearly 15%, where if we see a range of the other peers are from 20 to 30%. So, yeah. I think that's demonstrate that if we see that SMEs contribution to GDP in like countries, global peers like New Zealand, Singapore, UK are more than 30%, where if we see the regional, we are closer to Qatar, but UAE and Saudi Arabia are way ahead. And this is the main objective of having SME initiative in Oman, that they contribute more in the GDP. Now, I think this is the favorite slide. What are the real challenges faced by SMEs? Furthermore, the growth potential of SMEs in Oman in the government attempts to enhance the sector is impeded by challenges, procurement, administration, and mainly finance. What are the financial limitations? Little incentives are given to banks to lend SMEs. Conditional lending through various government entities that require the beneficiaries to buy required supplies from predetermined agents. Cash flow management and the ability to make scheduled payments of their loans, and the banks, they have very difficulty to reschedule and pay their loans. High cost of conducting professional feasibility studies and lack of collaterals needed to receive a line of credit. This is, I think, you can blame the audit firms and Big Four, but they have to have a consolidated force and discussion between the three sectors, government, private sector, and the people who do the feasibility studies, to enable SMEs to have an advantage from the big players of the feasibility studies. Marketing limitations. Marketing weaknesses and inefficiency of the SMEs. Lack of sufficient initiatives for local product, incentives for local products to compete with imported products. Many SMEs in Oman create good quality products, but they are unable to present them in the market due to the poor quality or design of packaging. One of the main focuses of RIADA is to provide SMEs with training support in developing business plans, design, packaging, and marketing their products. Administrative limitations. Lack of modern managerial and administrative skills. This is a very known weakness that a lot of SMEs are having, but we should not blame them, because this is a facts challenge that they have. Maybe he's good at what he does, but he's unfortunately lacking the skill of administrating his business or her business. Maybe, I think, down the day we'll hear from our expert on how to recruit the right candidate for your company. And this is another challenge that SME finds, that they don't get the right person in their companies. Technical limitations. Poor business skills and educational among prospective entrepreneurs. Organization and regulatory limitations. Law and regulation relating to SMEs. We don't have, unfortunately, special laws that addresses the challenges and bottlenecks faced by SMEs. I think this should be revised. Larger establishments and organizations are often given concessions agreement from the government in terms of tax breaks, incentives, and other rollover subsidies, leading to unfair competition for SMEs or entrepreneurs. I mean, at the end, we have to think, how can we as a group think on how to reduce the bottlenecks faced by SMEs? I think now we came for the recommendation, and feel free, please, to add more or challenge on these recommendations. I think, first of all, to develop a growing, competitive, and dynamic SME sector, the Sultanate needs to channelize its efforts by adopting the global leading practices against each pillar of the SME development framework. 1. Regulatory and legal framework. Devise appropriate regulation regarding working visas and rules and ownership, as well as law on the ownership of SMEs, where owners are expected to be investors rather than agents. Introducing a clear property right, thereby minimizing the cost associated with resolving business disputes. Effective contractual laws that protect all parties involved in a transaction and eliminate loopholes that could result in abuse. Access to finance. Incentivize the banks to lend to SMEs. Introduce a collateral subsidize in the form of a loan guarantees to facilitate financing for SMEs, along with eliminating conditional lending. Promote new sources of financing like asset-based financing or capital market financing and equity-based financing. Spread awareness among the stakeholders, including existing SMEs and startups and entrepreneurs, on various availability of new SME funding tools. SME supportive activities. Launch a one-stop for assisting startup and SMEs for all administration and technical marketing needs, conducting feasibility studies, and also addressing all their requirements. An effective telecommunication infrastructure and friendly telecommunication policies to minimize operational cost, expedite communication, and drive efficiency. Assistance to provide professional feasibility studies for SMEs and at a very nominal fees, where it will conduct awareness on the importance of producing regular financial statements and having SME firms in the use of modern technologies in payment and supply methods to minimize transactional cost. Support entrepreneurs by providing entrepreneurship education from the start. We need to embed all these educational and the importance of SMEs, and to become entrepreneur from the school age, from education. We need to let the future of our people not depend in working in the government, but being them as entrepreneurs. Finally, having the SME policy framework to set up an institutional framework to evaluate and devise policies that promote SMEs sectors, in addition to the appropriate database for all existing potential businesses and opportunities. We don't have, unfortunately, a proper network system that if a new SME comes selling, for example, boxes, we need to link them with the right other SMEs that produce things that they can buy from these people, the boxes. We need to have a proper database to share it with SMEs. Introduce a new policy that exempt SMEs from paying tax, and selected fees would assist in promoting level of the playing field. We need to attract them. So this is the carrot. Promoting supply chain structures wherein the SME could enter into a contractual agreement with a larger business. Proper regular evaluation from prior policies and the progress appropriate to adapt the changes and the condition and the market. We need not to only set up new laws and policies, but we need also to revise these policies at every time to see is it applicable to that time or not. In my conclusion, the importance of SMEs are reflected in the government growth agenda. This could be achieved by helping SMEs start and thrive through enhanced business support, improved access to finance, and stronger competition with fewer barriers of entry. We need to minimize all barriers to entry, including that governmental and other government entities. They should have a proper, synchronized understanding with the SMEs. What I say normally, I always believe if the main objective of having SMEs introduced in Oman is mainly because we want them to increase our GDP and economy. So that means the main objective is increasing the economy, and we have three main pillars, which I call it the golden triangle: the government, private sector, and SMEs. If all these three pillars work together towards one vision, we will have a proper SME which will increase our GDP. Finally, I say we have to understand that failing to plan is planning to fail. Assalamu alaikum.